Hello everybody, this is Doll Dazzler and welcome to my channel. In this video I am going to be sharing with you guys a project that I am working on. A little while ago I had decided that I was going to get a few pieces of decor for the outside of my house, and I didn't want to purchase the ones that they have. They're usually pretty expensive, not overly expensive, but I thought that this would maybe be a project that I could work on myself, and instead of buying them made, I could make them into what I want them to look like and kind of still go along with the ideas that that I'd seen in some of the stores. So what I had done is I had gone on a day where they were having a half off sale of outside like decor, and I purchased this butterfly and also this dragonfly that I've already started. I'm going to try to pull these away from each other so you can see this. This one is already in the painting, already started to paint it, and so I'm going to show you what I have done to create this. It's like a fading of colors. And I thought that I would show you that what I did for the butterfly. So on this one I used a combination of dark green, blue, and yellow, and a little bit of periwinkle, I believe. So I used just regular acrylic water-based paint. Now because these are going to go outside, of course, I'll be sealing it really, really well. You could also use spray paint as well to get the fading of the colors together. But I figured since I'm going to be sealing it with a protective coat so that it can be outside, I would just go ahead and use the colors that I'm used to using. But this it can be done with spray paint. It takes a little bit more technique because spray paint dries pretty much as you're putting it on rather quickly. So I'm going to set this aside. When I had first bought these were kind of like, it's like the color of the middle of this butterfly here, which is just the metal color, kind of like a coppery color. And so I thought what I was going to do is just make these nice and bright and vibrant, and then probably do a little bit of black lining so they stand out really well against the wall. So in today's video I'm only going to be taking care of the wings. I have pre-done the wings with a spray paint that would adhere to the metal and also have the endurance to be out in the weather, which will help the colors. It kind of acts like a primer for the colors that I'm going to put on there. And then also too, since they'll stick to it really nicely, then the coating that I'm going to put over the top, of course, will hold it on really, really nicely. I'll be able to do like a clear coat that will be able to be and withstand the elements outside. So the first thing I'm going to do is, since this is now dry, I'm going to start working on just one of the petals. And since this is kind of like it's like a see-through pattern, to where if I tried to do something on it, it would end up on the wires underneath. I'm going to stick a piece of paper in there at a kind of corner across, just like that. And then I'm also going to I'm going to pour the paint. And I don't think you guys can see this in the video yet, but I've got a purple, I've got a fuchsia, I've got a pink, and you can use any colors that you want. This is like a salmon color, this is a yellow, and then I have an orange. And so the idea of this is to get kind of colors that will kind of blend, kind of like how a rainbow would blend colors into each other. And that way it makes it a little bit easier to blend them in. So I'm just going to put some of this paint out. It doesn't take very much. And I'm going to put them in a circle around this plate here. I just use a paper plate to put out the colors. If you guys want the exact list of colors that I'm using, just leave that in the comments for me and I will let you know exactly what they are. I'm not going to go into detail because you actually can use any colors that you want at all. It doesn't even necessarily need to be where they could fade into one another. You can do whatever you like. So I'm just going to leave that up to you if you want the list of colors that I've used. To go ahead and leave that in the comments for me. This one looks like it's going to be kind of like the same. I need to give it a good shake. I did shake these before I started to pour, but this one has a little bit of glitter in it, so that might be why it's giving me a little bit of a challenge. All right, so now I'm just going to set these off. And on the Dragonfly, what I did was I started with a darker one first and moved my way out. But this one has a little bit wider space on it. So what I thought I would do, I'm going to see if I can get this to come in just a little bit more for you guys. Like that. See if that helps you. And then I'm going to move the colors over here. I'll try to do as much in the camera that I possibly can so that you can get an idea of how this works. So with this one, I'm not going to use a brush. I'm going to use this little sponge. It's like a dabber, like a sponge, so that it blends the colors in nicely together. So I'm going to start actually this time with the yellow. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to be able to fade. I have a little bit more colors to work with this time, and I want to be able to fade from the light to the dark. So I'm just going to put the yellow in. I'm going to try not to make that noise. Just a little bit in the center here. And I'm just going to dab around. These are going to make a little bit of noise because they are metal. I'm going to try to keep it from bouncing. And get quite a bit of that yellow on there. And then I'm going to move up to the next color, which is that, I guess the orange would be okay. And I'm just going to go around the orange a little bit. Right next to that yellow. And for right this very minute, I haven't really started to blend them in together. I'm just going to put quite a bit of that orange next to it, move it on down and around. Sorry that that's making so much noise. There's nothing to hold it down with. So I'm just going to dab that in there like that, and you can see that that orange is still kind of wet. So then on this other end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fade it to the pink on the inner side here. So I'm going to put this pink here. I didn't want to mute out the yellow so much. On the Dragonfly, some of the yellows got muted a little bit, so I wanted that yellow to be really strong this time. So you can kind of get an idea. I will be blending these in together. They're still going to be very, very wet, so they'll blend very nicely. And then I'm going to take this dark pink, or the fuchsia, and I'm going to work the edges out here. Like this. And around like that. And you can kind of see how those are going to blend together really nicely. I need a little bit more up here. And it's kind of hard to do because the camera is right there. And not make such a loud noise. This is metal, so it's kind of loud when it's bouncing. And then I'm going to try to do that dark color last. So I'm going to start to blend the other ones in. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take this that's already, it's already got a lot of paint on it. So that dark color is going to come along the very, very edges. I'm going to swipe this off onto the paper, and I know that you guys probably can't see that, but I'm just eliminating some of the paint color off of this brush. And I'm going to re-dip it back into that yellow, trying to get rid of that dark color that's on the edge. I'd rather have it be yellow that it's going to blend to. And then I'm just going to come back and smooth those edges out. So it's going along the edges of that orange, the yellow, and that pink, so that they kind of blend into each other. That. And then that pink along the top, and then this middle here. Let's see if we can get that to blend in a little bit. This is actually a really fast process using the dabber. You could probably do it with a brush, but this I find makes it a lot better to, it has a softer blend to it. So I'm kind of leaving just that one yellow a little bit alone because I really want some yellow in there that's just yellow by itself. And you can kind of see, I'll see if I can lift it up for you guys so you can see how it's going in there like that. I might put a little bit of the deeper color on the inside as well. So once you get it to your liking on how it's blended into that pink, the yellow and the pink and the fuchsia, we can now start working with that dark color. And this is just if you don't want to change your dabber. I call it a dabber or a sponge dabber, so it helps with blending. So now I'm going to take that little bit of that deeper color, and I'm going to try to get off as much of the extras as possible. And I know that you guys probably can't see that, so I'm going to bring this closer to you. So I just dip it in a little bit and I'm spinning it, and that helps make it create a little bit more evenness on the bottom of that sponge and gets rid of all the extras so that it will blend in really nicely. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this along this edge here, and then bring it on into that fuchsia. I'm going to have to add a little bit more fuchsia at that point. And then I'm going to take it along the edges of that there, like that. You can kind of see how it's starting to blend in. I'm going to grab a little bit more, do the same thing over again. And I'm going to try not to make a lot of noise with this. Usually that upper one it's going to bounce a little bit on me, but I'm going to try not to make a lot of noise so you guys can hear me. I'm just going to go along the edges there and try to blend it into that orange and the fuchsia. And as you can see, it kind of rounded off that fuchsia a little bit, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab a little bit of fuchsia and do the same thing. Keeping that dark on the brush or on that sponge, but going back through it and making sure that the primary amount on there is that fuchsia. And then I'm going to come up to where the fuchsia was and come back into it again. Just like that. And now you can see that it's starting to fade into that orange and yellow. This is very simple to do. It doesn't take a lot of time either, so you can come up with a really nice fade. I'm going to do that again up at the top because I lost some of the fuchsia up here. I'm going to turn this butterfly actually. And just go along some of that area where the fuchsia was before and try to blend it right back into that orange. I'm going to get some of that leftovers off of there. Trying to blend in that fuchsia into that dark color. I don't necessarily want any heavy paint left, and you'll be able to tell what the heavy paint is because it kind of gets kind of like a watery look. So this is what we have so far. I'm going to then take a little bit more of that yellow, and in order to do the yellow again, I need to wipe off as much of that color off of the sponge. I'm going to dip it back into my yellow, and since there's already yellow on there, it should work out rather nicely. And I'm just going to tap it into the center there and try to get it to come out into the areas that I accidentally touched with the other colors. And see, hopefully I'm not covering, I am. So I'm going to push down here so that it doesn't make a loud noise. There we go. There was a place in there where I had touched with the dark color. So then I'm just going to take it right back out again, and you can see how that's blended it back out into the fuchsia. It's a little bit right here that I want to get. And then I'm going to go into the center with the dark. Now I'm not going to dip my sponge into the dark. I'm going to dip it into where I had tried to get rid of the excess so that it doesn't add a lot into the sponge. And I'm going to come in, and I'm going to probably catch the side of this, but I don't want to put too much. I just want to get like a little bit going on to darken that next to where that body of the butterfly is. I'm going to add just a little bit more, just along the edges there. The rest of the butterfly body I'm going to probably be doing in a black and adding some filigree on it. I haven't totally decided what I'm going to do with it yet, But so it doesn't matter that I'm painting it right at the moment. I just need to get right up on real close to the body, and so that ends up coloring it a little bit. So now you can kind of see that it's gradually coming out. I'm going to add then a little bit of the orange and yellow together. And I know you guys can't see this that's going on. I'm trying to get as much in the camera that I can. But since this is a rather large butterfly, I'm not going to be successful with getting everything in the camera. Just like that. So if I remove this piece of paper, which I'm not quite ready for, let me get this up here, blend this in a little bit more, and then I can remove that piece of paper, and you guys will be able to see how this blended in. I'm going to move the camera back up so you guys can see a little bit. Take out that piece of paper, and now you can see how all of that blending works. All right, so now I'm going to just do the other side, and I'll be doing that off camera, but I will come back and do a second part to this video showing the other side of this butterfly, and then what I'm going to do with it to help seal it and to make it super shiny so that it shows up really nicely on my wall outside. So if you guys have any suggestions for me as far as a pattern or something that I can do with the body on this butterfly, please leave it in the comments for me, because I haven't made up my mind yet what I really want to do with the body. If I just want to paint it, you know, like a regular body with black body, or maybe even add some kind of pattern into it to make it look like it's got hairs on it. I want to do something kind of fun, maybe a pattern, something on there. So if you guys have any suggestions for me, please leave it in the comments for me. And if you guys like this video and would like to see more of this, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.